Okay, let's start a new Android project. Right off the bat, we launched Eclipse, and notice how once we launch Eclipse, the Android Developer tools take over. We get to select a workspace for our files. And once the workspace is launched, we get to choose to create a new Android application or go directly to tutorials. The tutorials are online, web-based. There's a lot of information about creating Android applications online. Here we get the main project creation screen and all the technical details related to that screen. So I'm in Eclipse right now, and I'm going to create a brand new project. From this screen, we get to select the application name, and the application name is what is shown in the Play Store, the area where we get to sell our application. The project name is internal to Eclipse. The package name must be a unique identifier and must remain the same for the lifetime of the application for version control purposes. The minimum required SDK is a configuration parameter that states that our application will at least support minimally this SDK. The target SDK is what we are targeting for in terms of the application support. Another name for SDK is API. Android right now supports several API versions from 1 to, I believe, 4.4, and for some reason APIs are codenamed with food names as opposed to other companies that use animals. One thing I noticed is that there are several names to mean the same thing. For example, SDK is really another name for API, and API is another name for Android version. So we have APIs and then Android versions and then food name. Here we get to select the API that we will compile with. Finally, we get to choose the theme for the Android application in question. So I'll go ahead and actually create the application 1. And rename the package. And I'll click Next. Here we get to create a custom launcher icon. We'll create an activity, and then it'll be using the default workspace. Here we get to configure the launcher icon. Of course, we can select our own. I will not do so at this time. On the next screen, we'll be creating an activity. There are blank activities, full screen activities, and master detail flow. I will, in the future, go and talk about activities, layouts, and navigation types. After all this is done, it takes about a minute for the Eclipse environment to actually create the infrastructure for the Android application. Once the application is created, we are greeted with the Eclipse environment, with the Package Explorer on the left, the code in the middle, and the outline on the right. This concludes this first part of a series of tutorials about the development of Android applications. Until next time, this is Pierre from softanalyst.com.